Thanks to DC being a multiverse. Would you believe me if I told you the Injustice universe characters, thanks to the multiverse and stuff, have technically interacted with main universe Rebirth era DC Comics main continuity Superman tier characters, like the main Superman's son, Jonathan Kent, for example, because of multiversal travels and stuff like that? Like, Jonathan Kent was literally in a battle with Ultraman, an alternate version of course, evil Superman, of course. Somebody that's been pretty top tier no matter which continuity we talk about. I mean, it's like fighting his dad, but evil, one could say. Ultraman. And believe it or not, this could possibly retcon the power levels of what we thought the Injustice power level characters was at first. Like, this could retcon some things because, like, we know this main version of John has interacted with main version characters of Wonder Woman, Doomsday, blah, blah, blah. And he does significant damage to Ultraman right here. And he was pretty much down for the count, one could say. And Ultraman still had life in him still. But Injustice Superman comes and pops his neck. Somebody that was given a main continuity version of Superman-centric type characters like Superman's son John issues. Kind of giving you some writer intent that the writers want Injustice Superman to be somewhere in the ballpark with the main continuity versions of the characters, because we know John is somewhere in the ballpark of the main continuity version of Superman from Rebirth. Confirming that he did indeed kill him. Oh boy, my bad. Am I going too fast for you guys? Yeah. Injustice Superman strong, and this video just got started. Let's go. Injustice, two games that I own that have their own version of Superman that kind of went mad and became a dictator. It's a very tragic story on how he accidentally killed the love of his life and his kid because he thought he was fighting Doomsday, but he really wasn't. Yikes. It was like a living horror movie for him, and a whole bunch of different tragic things kept on happening. You guys know of the detail. It was all because of Joker's doing, so he took care of Joker murdering out of rage. When he was doused with fear toxin, and he killed his own wife and son. He had lost Jimmy and Lois, you know, a lot of bad, dark stuff that made him go down this path. That's when he found Jimmy on the docks. This and a whole bunch of different multitude of events is what made him get his own regime, become like a dictator basically. If you're not with him, you're against him type of mentality. To ensure safety at the cost of some sort of freedom. All this fear is surely to make him more powerful than the Lantern State, right? So yeah, he's quite different than the Superman we're used to, but have you ever wondered how strong is this version of Superman? Shockingly enough, he has a lot more material to go off from than you would expect, because not only does he have the feats from the video games, he has comics that are also a part of the same continuity to pull from as well. So even though he's quite different from the living embodiment of Hope Superman we know and love from the comic books, he still has a lot of similarities as well. Like, he's very versatile when it comes to the different abilities he can do, like heat vision being one of the many powers he got. So one can say he has blast power, he has super breath, ice breath, super hearing, notice how they zoom into his ear, implying super hearing. X-ray vision, he can tell you exactly what's messed up in your leg if something in your leg's broken or something. Super strength is what a lot of people know him for. He has ridiculous super strength, being able to lift heavy stuff, but along with his super strength, he can use his super strength in combat to punch really hard. And here's the thing about his super strength. He can hit hard because his super strength too, right? But guess what? His fist actually can move very fast. So one can say the faster you hit, the more power is behind it as well. So one can say his super speed punches can help his striking power as well, or how hard he can hit. Like, he can fly, of course, and he can dodge attacks by moving around a character too fast for them to be able to do anything. Saying he's faster than thought in this particular situation, which is nowhere near his limit when it comes to his top speed, by the way. And with all his super strength, his body can withstand probably just as much as he can dish out. I mean, he's called the Man of Steel. He has crazy durability. For the most part, Super Soldier tiers need to not even try it. In order for these characters to even give a character like Superman a match, they have to give him these like super pills, whatever, to help him be able to match the strength of Superman. So normally they're implying they wouldn't be enough. I've never been a fan of the super pill. I just feel like it's a cheap writing strategy to make normal humans a threat from a pill. But just know, when you see situations like this with street tiers or super soldier tiers being able to harm him, just know this is because of the pill. Even said, Bane, I'm gonna do what you do and break your back, Batman. Let me stop. Like, honestly, a guy that can trample the ground with this much force without even getting near you, he still can hurt you. It's better to not get hit by him if you're like a super soldier tier or lower. But it's like your life is always in danger. Like, y'all are strong humans. Like, Green Arrow, you're strong, but yeah, you're out of your weight class when it comes to Superman. I mean, we're talking about a guy as a child, he can do this to a tractor. A whole bunch of ants ganging up on a powerhouse isn't going to make a difference. Of course, his hand grip power is this much to squish guns. Matter of fact, he's so powerful at full power, even when he's weakened by red solar lamps or the red sun or whatever, he still can crack this little containment thing he's supposed to be trapped in, even while technically heavily suppressed. The farther in this video you go, the more you're going to realize that these hits he had to be holding back or they would have splatted, considering how much he can lift. So without wasting any time, he can lift up the Phantom Zone projector. You're probably thinking, why is this impressive? Because it's actually extremely heavy to the point where if you're not on his tier level, they can't. because it weighs 100 tons. So we already know he can lift 100 tons with laughable ease. This type of stuff is consistent. Look how he lifts up this big old bridge in a fight, lifting it to slam it on Doomsday, lifting up a submarine. You got in this occasion with the Watchtower, this kind of proves he can move thousands of tons. He literally moves it and pushes it downward along with others, proving they can move huge structures. Along with other powerhouses like Green Lantern and Wonder Woman, 3 of these beings are strong enough to help lift up an entire building, which could weigh over hundreds of thousands of tons. And I'm totally a believer that he could carry this entire building on his back by himself if he wanted to without help. Being strong enough to hold over 100,000 tons, I would say is definitely plausible. Superman, along with other powerhouses, wanted to show a message to show that he can lift way more than hundreds of thousands of tons, even lifting up an island, or one could say something like a continent. It was during this occasion with these sea creatures. Superman flew through one to kind of get buck with this universe's version of Aquaman. It's kind of hard to get a reading on how big this is, but it's implied at least to be an entire city. Green Lantern, Shazam, Wonder Woman all help show their strength, along with Superman helping out, no more holding back. They lift up the entire island out of the sea. They stated here, as a city from the darkest depths of the ocean, a city that has never been touched by sunlight, has been placed in the middle of the hottest desert in the world. Sure, he had help in this situation, but there's implications he can lift an entire island too, even though he did have help. So one can say he can at least lift 1/4 or 1/5 of an island with his strength. Over billions of tons he can lift easily, I would say. If you somehow don't believe he can actually move an island, I can understand your skepticism because he had help. But when you think about it, in the Injustice Saga, when he was powered up by the Yellow Lantern, he kind of did something way greater. So it implies he definitely can do this by himself without needing people. I mean, I know he had like extra help with the power ring, but I definitely think this is something he can do in his base state. Not to mention his striking power feats implied, but whatever. Mogo's like a literal living planet. He was Yellow Lantern powered, is powered up, and was able to kind of push this giant planet, or the planet itself, planetoid, into the sun. For him to have the strength to push a literal living planet with his raw lifting power, I definitely think he can lift up an island, even though he was powered up Yellow Lantern style here, but you get the idea. Like, I'm trying to stay focused on his base form though right now, you know. Hey, you can say that Injustice Superman caught Ultraman off guard, but for him to have the strength to pop his neck, that implies via right intent that the gap in strength, they literally have the same superpowers anyway. It implies that the gap in strength isn't so crazy to where Injustice Superman can't compete. This is important because Ultraman, we've seen this same being he did his neck to like this. We've actually seen Ultraman just fly up there to the moon and apparently made his own eclipse by pushing the moon in front of the sun. I know moons are nowhere near the size of Earth itself, but when you got feats like that, there's implications that Injustice Superman could definitely move at least moon-sized planetoids or even planets. That Mogo feat might not be an exaggeration, even without the Yellow Lantern ring, right? So all this stuff I've already showed you, it's obvious that he can hit hard. I mean, he can punch hard enough to destroy rooms or fly through a wall and break through it. I'm pretty sure the Fortress of Solitude isn't a normal wall and he can punch through this kind of stuff. Missiles are a joke to his power. I showed this already, but I'll show it again. Smash through this Kraken's tentacles, even though it's bigger than him. His strikes can do this to Grundy's chest. Yeah, get punched, Grundy. His punches affect multiple enhanced beings and as a collateral messing up plane wings. I mean, you got to be careful not to even be near him sometimes when he punches because you might get caught in his shockwave. Without even being necessarily near him, you still might get hit with the recoil of his blunt power. When it comes to his punching power, he's constantly hurting beings that are top tier or beings similar to his level at the very least. One time he punched a being and made a decent crater on the moon, even though we know the moon is small compared to the Earth. Making a crater this large on a structure or planetoid like the moon would still be enough to level an island or multiple cities at least when you compare this mass like this to somewhere over here. You know what I mean? Compare their sizes, the crater he produced, he would definitely be able to level multiple cities by the radius he produced on the moon. I mean, in his base form, his strength is formidable. I mean, even when lanterns like Sinestro make a shield, he can bust through it and even smash him into the moon. And you can see all the impact it does to the moon. You can see the curve of the planetoid itself. You can see how much of a radius of explosion that is. So yeah, he might not have cratered the whole moon. Like, he didn't crater all of this, but he did crater about the amount of something like this. This is still a lot of aerial effect. Even when you compare it to Earth size, this will still be like leveling multiple cities or an entire island or islands with his punches, is that, if that makes sense. Regardless of how you look at it, his punch would still be like multiple nuclear bombs or a nuclear bomb, basically. So yeah, his punching power and his fists are definitely registered, but we're still not done. Other than the fact he can threaten a whole city or tremble the whole city like a nuclear bomb, basically. This punching power kind of makes sense to be able to punch with the force of nuclear bombs because he had to withstand such power. It was stated here, this being in particular, when he explodes, he has more power than 10 nuclear bombs. Could have been an exaggeration because it was stated it was a 7 megaton blast. It was supposed to take out Superman, but it didn't work. Yeah, it further adds on to the fact that his punches feel like nuclear bombs or even higher. Beings like Captain Atom we've seen him slugfest with. Lanterns like Guy Gardner, he breaks his arm. Trust me, y'all shields won't protect y'all from the punching power of this guy. Yeah, Sinestro, you're mighty, but just get smacked away. Whether it's Yellow Lantern or Green Lantern, when it comes to their shield, he can punch through it with his raw punching power. Yawn, what do you know? An alternate reality. Green Lantern, he can break their constructs. What a shocker. Pretty much puts a lot of pressure on Green Lantern, even breaking his hand with his vice grip to show his power against Green Lanterns. Even beings that have similar power and durability, strength, punching power to himself, like Bizarro, we've seen him damage with his punches. Not just Bizarro, but Supergirl, someone that also has the exact same power as him. He punches her through a building. Well, throws her through a building. Even beings that have similar strength to him, or similar powers to him at least, like Superboy, we've seen how much damage his punches can cause. Making Starfire sleepy, by the way. Punches Superboy so hard here, you can see that his sternum is broken and one of his ribs has punctured his heart. He's bleeding out because of his attacks. Literally gotten a slugfest with another version of himself. Proving that his durability and punching power have to be able to match each other, or he would just get punched right through if his durability didn't match his punches, because another version of him can't even punch right through him with ease. Completely murks beings like Hawkman. Diana's sword breaks on Superman because of his durability. He can punch her and slugfested with her, give her a nosebleed. He hitting her so hard. His grip power was enough to kind of mess up Wonder Woman in an alternate reality here in this particular situation. Punching Hercules, actual deities, new gods like Orion, Darkseid's son. We've seen him punch beings like Ares, godly beings like Black Adam he can damage and slugfest with. He's gotten an entanglement with Flash. This shows that Flash just couldn't simply speed blitz him. Even though he was blitzing him, he still punched him back and even countered. And you guys already know, we've seen him withstand clash blows with the godly strong being known as Doomsday, even getting the upper hand over Doomsday. So not only is he strong enough to clash with beings like Brainiac, who's like the main foe of this game, we still get to see him kind of overpower him here. But one of his most flashier punching power feats is not only fighting Doomsday, somebody that can slugfest with him and hang on par with him. One of the best matchups of all time, him slugfesting with Darkseid himself, even took his overpowered Omega beams, literally pulled up on Darkseid and threatened him. Do not come to Earth. And this is where we get to kind of see more of the flashier feats of him punching with everything he got against somebody that's on his tier. So all that nuclear bomb stuff I mentioned a while ago is definitely an oversimplification if we're being honest, because they're on the planet Apokolips fighting, for example. It talks about how the ground trembles with the power of their fury. Narration even says, precious few mortals are able to behold such world-crushing dominance. Are they implying that they're trembling the entirety of Apokolips with his punches? The narration not only implies they're trembling the entire planet itself of Apokolips, but punching with world-crushing dominance. And just in case you think this planet-busting stuff is BS, their shockwaves of their punches, it was pretty much stated that the core of the planet is about to rupture. They must stop fighting, he says. It was pretty much confirmed this Superman clash with another powerful being could erupt the planet's core with the energy they was producing, which pretty much means stuff like punching apart the moon should be effortless for him. If we're being seriously honest about his punching power, moon destruction should be easy, which means he can produce so much force with his punches clash with another powerful being to put multiple continents in danger on the planet. DC is a fictional world, but in their world, they have a similar looking United States to us. But just imagine one being having the strength to wipe out the entirety of the United States or sink it if he wished. That's the kind of power he has, because they would have ruptured the planet's core. I mean, you got Injustice Kryptonians like Zod, for example, who are comparable to Superman of this universe, obviously, because he's a Kryptonian, that literally have super moves like this, which I do not think is just a gameplay mechanic. I'm pretty sure he can actually do this in the lore. To really show his might, this guy pulled up on Trigon himself, a cosmic S-type being. He didn't care. He tried to punch him too. Isn't the Helmet of Fate supposed to be magical? He crushed the Helmet of Fate with his brute strength. I mentioned this very early in the video, but one could say Injustice Superman's power is way more impressive than you might have originally thought, even though it's already implied he's already a planet buster. But this is pretty much evidence that he's a planet buster without the Yellow Lantern ring anyway, because you see him in his base form here, for example. He has the strength to kill a being that was given a main continuity version of a Superman-centric type character like John Issues, Ultraman, from another universe, somebody that was given Superman's son issues. Even though I will admit John did do significant damage to Ultraman, it didn't seem to matter all that much because Ultraman got back up and seems to have had him on the rope still, but yet Injustice Superman's still strong enough to do this. That tells a lot about his power. Like, you guys know there's a lot of different Supermans, right? But their histories pretty much got merged, you know what I mean? This same stuff or lore should apply for Ultraman being comparable to the main Superman from the main comic book universe continuity. This is crucial because the main continuity Superman's strength levels make planet busting look like a joke, really, by containing black holes in his hands. Like, I'm talking about the main continuity Superman held a black hole in his hand that was going to destroy the entire solar system, for Pete's sake, which this should also apply for Rebirth too, because their histories got merged, basically. And Injustice Superman could do this to an Ultraman. That's similar to that version of Superman. Like, yo, bro, pretty much confirming that Injustice Superman has this type of strength. His hands probably could contain the amount of force that could level a solar system as well, too. If his hands can contain this kind of force, imagine what his punches or hits would feel like. It would be like trembling the solar system or a whole bunch of planets just smashing in your face. The writer intent is interesting because wouldn't that mean if the writers intend for Injustice Superman to be comparable to the main continuity Superman, wouldn't that mean Injustice Superman's hands could contain a black hole just like the other ones too? This new developments or new comics just opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for the power levels of these Injustice versions of these characters. When it comes to raw feats, the main continuity Rebirth has way better feats than Injustice, but writer intent suggests that they might want them to be more similar in power than we would originally expect, because he says they might be stronger than our universe version of Superman, which is the Injustice Superman. Given more writer intent that the writers might want them to be similar, even if they do give John the edge, it's not an astronomical gap, which would automatically put him way past those planet-busted levels. And this is pretty much more proof of them implying that he could be on their level, even though their fight didn't really last that long. He drew blood, sent him flying, implying the gap isn't that crazy because they're both super beings, Superman-centric, you know what I mean? Like, guys, here's the thing. There's no exact science to this, and there's no exact math to this. This is a rough estimation, guesstimation, one can say. But based on all this new information we got when it comes to Injustice Superman compared to, you know, the main Superman from Rebirth and then his son and such. If there was like a grid, I would say, of course, the main Superman from Rebirth still got everybody beat, of course, because he's the man, the myth, the legend, obviously, right? But let's look at it like this. Even if he has the advantage over both of these Superman, his son should not be that far behind because we've seen his son do things that suggest that his power level isn't that far off from his dad, if that makes sense. And you see where this is going. Injustice Superman was able to pop the neck of somebody that was giving this guy a run for the money, and we know he's somewhere similar or somewhere comparable to his dad, if that makes sense. Which means if he can hold black holes in his hands, more than likely he can too. Even if you want to assume Injustice is weaker than both of them, that would still mean he should still technically be able to hold a black hole, even if you want to give them an advantage in strength. It's just a lot of ways you can look at it. This Superman can punch fast, aka he has combat speed, but he also has flying from point A to point B type of speed, straight line travel speed. One can say he has both fighting speed and this kind of speed to be able to travel through interstellar distances faster than the speed of light. I mean, we've seen him dodge attacks from Green Lanterns, beings that can shoot beams of light and stuff, and he's faster than thought. So right off gate, we got Lord, like straight up narrative statements saying he can break the sound barrier faster than the speed of sound. And obviously, he kind of rests Zatanna on this situation here. He's so fast when there's like a whole bunch of parademons, he can just like fly through them with his striking speed and zip and pass through them at incredible speeds. Guy Gardner tried to punch him here. Look at his eyes showing his reflexes. He's always depicted as a blur. He's even blitzed the Green Lantern so hard before he can react to take his ring off and depowering him. This pretty much proves light speed. I mean, it's not no exact measurement on how fast this took, but it implied it didn't take that long. He flew past planets all the way near the sun, and we know how far away the sun is. More sun flying feats to show speed of light type speed. Kansas and Washington are 1,000 miles away. And when it comes to his raw speed, you can see that he's here in Kansas and he's seeing something on TV happening. And he flies there so fast to break it up. I mean, one fair assumption is that we can assume that Apocalypse is outside of the solar system, right? And for Superman to fly out of the solar system in a very short amount of time, all the way to some unknown part of the space, Apocalypse, that's also implying flight speed way faster than the speed of light. Like, you legit see Superman just take off with flight speed. They even say Superman's sudden departure on the news. Yeah, they're on an entirely different planet outside of the solar system. And then we see Superman just pull up and blitz him because of speed. I mean, you got moments like this that imply he can fly faster than the speed of light. He doesn't even need teleporters to fly vast interstellar distances in the universe. Literally grabbing Ares and flying him all the way to Apocalypse, which has to be outside of the solar system when it comes to raw speed. Realistically, the Apocalypse shouldn't be flyable because it's supposed to be outside of space and time. But this place seems to have like a physical, actual apocalypse or whatever. Superman can fly really fast, but he can make sharp turns on the spot because he has combat speed along with his flight speed. Brainiac's ship, when somebody tries to punch through it, it reacts to blast beams. It's one of them things where you can't avoid the blast that tries to counter you from blitzing them if you're fast enough to move. It says the force field concentrates its energy at your point of attack. Move faster than it can, you might break through. Like you can see him blitz and he's moving out of the way to blast every time. You can gotta get a visual on how he's able to speed blitz with raw speed all over the ship. He had to turn it to the 10 picoseconds. The fact that he had to do this implies faster than the speed of light type of raw speed for him to resort to being able to refresh in 10 picoseconds. Remember that 1 picosecond is 1/1,000,000th of a second. Like, this is some crazy speed Brainiac had to do to even be able to tag Superman doing this. And I guess I'll go over when he had the Yellow Lantern ring, but most of the crazier features when he didn't even have this ring, really. Just know whatever he can do before, he can do like this or more, one could say, honestly. It's like a stacker. One could say he still has the strength he usually would have, but he has a Yellow Lantern ring. Like, he has the raw power to do thunderclaps. He can do fun lantern stuff like making constructs. Notice how dangerous he is. He would use the Yellow Lantern ring and also use his heat vision, both of them at the same time. So he has all his same powers plus a lantern ability. Remember that planet stuff earlier I showed you? Mogo, the living planet, he actually took a blast from a giant planet Green Lantern entity that's sentient while powered up with the Yellow Lantern ring, of course. And this is the famous feat of him threatening an entire planet or pushing the planet being into the sun itself. Having the power to move a sentient planet just by pushing it into the sun is insane. All this durability, power, laser vision, heat vision, and then he can make himself have a shield too. Like in this occasion with Etrigan, literally puts his hand over Etrigan's mouth to stop the blast. And just when you think it's over and his hand is on fire, he can blow out the hellfire and just punch Etrigan. And Wonder Woman, don't try to punch him when he's powered up like this. But regardless of how you look at it, he doesn't really need this Yellow Lantern ring to be powerful, nor all these artifacts or the power of Grayskull. I don't think he needs all this to be powerful. He's strong on his own, even though stuff like this can help. I mean, look what he did to Martian Manhunter with his blast power or heat vision. We've seen him blast He-Man himself, and his blast power is clashed with Darkseid's Omega beams. Takes out Batwoman. The fact that his heat vision can pierce through beams that are apparently immune to heat, it shows that it has blast pressure behind it. But anyway, guys, this is just about going to do it. He can cut your hand off. He can box it out with literal sentient planets. A Superman character having the power to destroy or punch apart moons is just a normal day, really. This doesn't seem like nothing special. I do hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. But before I get going, I got to say a quick thanks to the donations. Helps out a lot. Respect Superman, Injustice, any universe Superman for that matter, you know. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.